Hey, Team Edgar community, welcome back to another How'd She Build That? And today we are joined by Emmeline, who is going to give us a wealth of information. And she works for a company, as you can see, called Brain Candy Digital. So I'll pass it over to her to get us started out, and then we'll get into a fun conversation. Go right ahead.
Hi, Megan. Yeah, as you noticed, other side actually, I work for Brain Candy Digital, which is actually a business that I set up myself. So I've been working in marketing, digital marketing actually for around 23 years. So way back when we still had dial-up modems and hardly anybody had a PC at home, I was creating websites and building them for other businesses and brands. And so I went from starting off as like a freelancer to working for a range of agencies and other brands, and then ended up back working for myself again, which is great. So I've sort of come full circle. Yeah, so 23 years seems a long time, but we haven't really seen that much advancement in terms of marketing, because for me, it's always about the messaging and the content. You know, this whole thing, content is king or queen, as I like to say here. It never changes. So while we've seen technology change, the bones of marketing are still the same.
I love that so much, this idea that it doesn't take a new technology or a new platform or anything that you need to know technology-wise in order to market a business. It's truly just knowing your mission and your message and getting really valuable content out in the world. And I think that's a reminder we all need to hear more often. So kind of going off of that, what type of content are you seeing work so well for Brain Candy Digital right now when you're getting your message out there?
So for my clients, it's still video. I mean, video has been the best way to get your message out there for a few years now. And I think it still is. You know, we're looking at the biggest apps at the moment, TikTok, you know, Snapchat, maybe not so much now, and YouTube are still really big players to get onto. You know, and I just think video is, the culture that we have at the moment is sort of like 2-minute consumption, or rather it used to be two-minute consumption a few years ago. Now it's more like 5 seconds. And video is the easiest way to get your message across and start engaging people straight away, especially when you're talking to Generation Z and even millennials, because they're the ones who have grown up absorbing video, and that's how they've been taking their messages in. I'm actually Generation X. So I'm actually 45, and I can still receive messages on the radio or visually, whereas everybody else, all the generations behind me, who are the audience that we're all trying to talk to, they're so visual, and I find that video always works. Just in terms of length of video as well, it used to be shorter videos worked well, but we're also now looking at longer form, going back to long form content, especially for videos. We're finding that those longer videos, maybe up to 5 to 10 minutes, are actually working well in terms of long tail content.
It's really interesting. I love that you approached it from this idea that look at what the networks who are exploding right now are producing. TikTok's producing video. That's probably a good sign that that's the type of content we all want to consume. So if you're someone who's not sure, look at what's doing really well on these networks and try to emulate that. You don't have to reinvent the wheel. You can use those as breadcrumbs to kind of know that. And I love that idea too, that, you know, I read somewhere it takes like 15 seconds for people on social media to make an impression of the brand that they're seeing. And video is a way that you can actually get that facial recognition that we're all so used to. So that makes a lot of sense. So when you're actually going out and kind of producing video for your clients and getting stuff out there, do you see certain kind of engagement techniques or certain networks working really well for video these days?
I still think YouTube is one channel to, if you are producing any sort of video content, unless it's, you know, really short 5-second things for, say, TikTok or Snapchat, something where it's really, really short, then you should be on YouTube, because not only is it a way to, well, certainly for my clients, it's a way to home your content, so you've got somewhere else where you're storing your video that you're not having to pay for the bandwidth on. And if a video goes viral, suddenly people find themselves in a bit of a mess when it comes to bandwidth if it's hosted on their own website. So first of all, it's a great place to put a library. It's got great tools as well on YouTube, and Google have developed it really well. I mean, they did have a really good foundation to start with, but when they took it over, they added Studio, and now we've got this new video builder tool for smaller brands who perhaps can't afford, you know, to engage an agency or somebody like myself to actually go out and film things. But I just think for the range of tools, the fact that you can actually have a video library that you can call on and link to from everywhere else, I think YouTube is a great place to start, because a lot of the time my clients will see as well that they're picking up followers on there without even trying, just because they're using it anyway. So it's a bit of a, you know, you can get like side followers without even trying as well. So YouTube definitely. And then if it's appropriate for your brand, then TikTok as well is so the place to be. Although we're seeing Byte as an app is growing as well. And there's another one I looked at today. Is it Queer or something? I can't remember because I only just looked at it today, but it's sort of a TikTok-esque app. And the fact that TikTok is getting a bit of stick at the moment in terms of data and privacy, you do find that a lot of people will hop from one app to another, just so they can sort of still get out there, even if the app's been shut down in a certain country. So I think they're definitely the two things I would look at first for clients. Obviously TikTok, it's not for everybody. There's no point going on there if your audience aren't on there, or if you don't have a message that's relevant for the people there. I do have to talk clients round sometimes. You know, they'll be, oh, TikTok, well, you know, our kids are on it, we'd love to go on it. And you have to sort of say, well, I don't think it will work for you guys. As long as you can back that up with facts, then usually clients say, yeah, I get that, I understand.
Yeah, this idea of relevant messaging and being where your actual clients and actual followers are going to meet in the right space and time with the right message is, I feel like, the perfect marketing trifecta. And being someone who's like a freelancer working with clients yourself, can you talk to me a little bit about your initial phases of when you like bring on a client, how you get to know their brand, how you get to make sure that you guys are going to produce content and be the right partners for each other, and just kind of your relation with them? We have a lot of listeners who are freelancers and work with clients, so I'd love for them to get to from you.
Well, first of all, if you're going to set up on your own and go freelancing, perhaps you've just left a salary job and you're out there, and maybe you've picked up one client. People think that they need to go away and do a load of marketing or a load of paid marketing so that they can pick up clients. I actually find that I'd say 98% of my clients have actually got from word of mouth, which is, you know, getting a recommendation offline is usually a stronger way to pick up clients. So if you're just starting out as a freelancer, networking is where you need to be. You need to just be talking to other people, I know it sounds maybe a bit small time, but talking to friends and family and saying, hey, I'm starting up on my own, you know, and I've got this much experience or whatever. Or if you don't have any experience, say what you're interested in. And friends have been, you know, amazing in helping me to onboard new clients. I've got a few friends that are in PR. I don't do PR. I mainly do social, but they do PR. So we bring in clients for each other. I'm actually onboarding a new client this week. So what happened was, through word of mouth, this client contacted me, said, hey, we're launching a new brand. And it's really exciting when it's a new brand and it's a brand I can really get behind. It's actually embargoed, so I can't talk about who it is. But at the moment, I'm pulling together a proposal for these guys. So my proposal will typically contain, you know, what's the background, what has the client said they want, what are the objectives, which is the first thing you should ask yourself when taking on any client. Straight away ask yourself and ask the client, what do you want to achieve out of this project you want me to do for you? So yeah, well, I'll make sure we're clear on the objectives, and then give them sort of an overview of what I think they should do without giving away too much information, because obviously a client may just take that away and not actually engage your services. So it's giving them the trust that you know what you're doing, and then towards the end of the proposal, you would give like a budget of how you're going to how much you're going to spend with well, how much they're going to spend with you, and how you're going to actually spend that. So it's really exciting, and I think some people can get a bit tied up in the excitement of it all and forget to produce a really good proposal. You really need to spend a lot of time doing that. I don't charge that time back to my clients either, because I feel it's part of building up the trust. So if they can see I've produced a really good proposal, you know, I haven't just thrown things into it and thrown things that are not relevant. I like to do, you know, research on their brand first and make sure any images I'm putting in the proposal absolutely align with their brand. And it really helps with the trust, especially at the moment where we're having to onboard clients without seeing them face to face because of coronavirus. We can't actually go over and do a presentation like we usually would. So yeah, it really helps to build up that trust if you've got a good proposal. And I even do that with smaller clients as well, not just big brands. I'll do it because I do a certain proportion of my time, around 20%, with that small local businesses. So I would give them a preferential rate because it's part of giving back to the community. And we've all been that small business at some point. So I'll put in the same amount of effort for them because, you know, there still needs to be a level of trust. And I think for smaller clients, their money means more to them. They're often paying this out of their own pocket. You know, they're not perhaps a registered business, maybe they're freelance, maybe, you know, they've just started up. So I think if you can get in the habit of creating a really good proposal, no matter who your client is, it really helps to build up the trust, which then obviously furthers the word of mouth recommendations.
Yeah, that sounds like a great system. I love that sort of initial onboarding call. You don't charge people for it. It's just to get them to know that trusting level is something that I feel like could be so easy to skip, but that's a really cool idea. I love that. Amazing. So this has been really fun for me to listen to and learn from. So I'm sure our listeners are feeling the same way. But if you have one more actionable marketing tip that you would love just to impart on us with your wisdom today, I would love to hear it before we wrap on up here today.
Okay, cool. So I think we did touch on it earlier, but I think audience is key. When you do anything, make sure you know who you're doing it for. So if you want to reach 55-year-old women in Scotland, don't just think, oh, I'll just target some ads to that demographic. You need to make sure that your copy is written specifically for that audience, it speaks to them, and that any assets that you've got, video, imagery, or perhaps a landing page that you're linking to, make sure that it's all tailored to that audience. It doesn't actually take a lot more time to tailor all your content, but you really should do that, because there's no point just blindly targeting people with an ad that's been written for everybody, because what works for that 50-year-old female in Scotland is not going to work for an 18-year-old young man in New York. So yeah, when you are targeting, whether it's paid ads or organic content, make sure you know who you're talking to and make sure that they are actually going to, resonate with that.
That's so beautiful, and something that it does take a little bit of work for sure to do, but it is well worth the effort. I completely agree. Well, thank you so much, guys. I will link Emmeline's information in the description here so you can get in touch with her if you'd like to continue your relationship. And I really appreciate you joining us and sharing all of your tips today. Thanks so much.
That's brilliant. Great to meet you.